Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another episode review. This time we are reviewing Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Game The Chronicles, Episode 3 of the Fallen and the Virtuous storyline titled Tri-Brigade Shuraig the Ominous Omen. Now, the last few episodes of The Chronicles I've done live reactions to. For this one, I wanted to do more of a traditional style review, only because I miss doing episode reviews. Like, you guys gotta understand, episode reviews were like a weekly segment of this channel since the Arc 5 days, and it's been a long time since Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush has ended, and I just kind of miss doing traditional reviews. So what did I think about episode 3 here? I thought it was another really good episode, to be honest. Again, not going to talk too much about, like, the length of the episode. It was the longest episode we've gotten so far. I know the YouTube video was about 7 minutes, but the episode itself was really, like, a little under 6 minutes, considering the opening credits and the end credits. But that said, at least the length is going in the correct direction, and I think for what it is, which of course is a short animated series, these last two episodes have been certainly enjoyable. So we start off with where we ended last episode, which was Albaz transforming into this giant dragon and saving Ecclesia in the process, although Ecclesia is pretty much unconscious for the remainder of this fight. The Dogmatika end up striking. They try to go after Albaz, and as they are attacking Albaz, Tri-Brigade, the soldiers that are on the ground, which is Ferrijit and Rugal, and I think there's a couple of others, they make their move, and they are basically defending Albaz, probably indirectly. I think they're really just trying to fight off the Dogmatika, as there's clearly a rivalry between them. We get a shot. I mean, this is the only thing that I've seen talked about the episode, this freaking belly button shot. So, of course, I have to address it. I guess it was a very integral shot in terms of importance for the episode. We got the belly button shot of Ferrijit. Just unbelievable, man, the Yu-Gi-Oh! World. I mean, the only thing that I've seen regarding this episode before I watched it was the belly button shot. So Ferrijit ends up, attacking, and I love a moment that she has where she's shooting, there's a very chaotic battle scene, and you can actually see, like, I don't know if it's her hair or her ear, like, wiggle as if to indicate danger, and she feels that. She immediately looks at Rugal and sees that he's about to get ambushed from behind, and she rushes over and saves him from being, brutally stabbed. And, Rugal makes a comment where he's like, oh, not too bad. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's real humble for someone who just saved your life. So I enjoyed the banter between the two of them. And, Ferrijit says we just have to hope that we win the battle in the air. And the battle in the air is like the main battle, which we saw a little bit last month between Shuraig and Fleurdelis. And these are two characters that have battled before. They know each other, which I love that they gave us that little bit of lore last episode. And there's a great move where Tri-Brigade Nerval acts as a distraction. I guess Nerval has the ability to, like, turn into a bird. Acts as a distraction, and Fleurdelis throws her shield, her weapon, at what she thinks is Shuraig as he's disappeared into the clouds, but it's actually Nerval. And Shuraig gets behind her and somehow fails to deliver, like, a fatal blow. I don't know how, but Fleurdelis somehow reacts just in the nick of time in order to defend herself, in order to essentially tank the shot from Shuraig. I honestly thought that he had the fight won at that point. And right after that sequence, Fleurdelis gets the message, hey, we got to retreat. We got to get out of here. And she flies away, and Shuraig is exhausted, and it's another battle between these two that goes unresolved. And I'm sure there have been many times before where these two have encountered each other, fought to essentially a draw or a no result as Fleurdelis leaves the scene. But I guess you can kind of view that as a Shuraig win there, since Fleurdelis did retreat, even though it wasn't on her own prerogative. And before we see all the Dogmatika soldiers retreat, which is what happens, there's a moment where one of the Dogmatika soldiers attacks an unconscious Ecclesia, and I guess tries to finish her off. And Albaz, the dragon, zooms over and takes the hit. And maybe they were under the impression that Albaz, the dragon, had been slayed at this point, and that's why they retreated. I don't really know why the retreat call was made, so I'm kind of interested to learn a little bit more about that. But they retreat, Albaz leaves his dragon form. He goes back into human form, and he is unconscious as well as Ecclesia is. And I love the shot of Albaz saving Ecclesia because it makes sense, right? Albaz was spared by Ecclesia's mercy, and if it was not for Ecclesia, Albaz would have been killed off for sure by the Dogmatika. So Albaz feeling like he was a little indebted to Ecclesia in that moment makes sense, and I loved that. And then, you know, Shuraig comes and he meets with Ferrijit. Nerval is there. Rugal is there. And they say, all right, we don't know why they retreated the Dogmatika, but whatever. Let's get out of here. Our job is done here for now. And they look at Ecclesia and Albaz and they say, well, what are we going to do about the two of them? And Shuraig, without really any hesitation, says, we can't leave them behind. We're going to have to take them with us. And I got to tell you, I think early on in this story, Shuraig is my favorite character. The absolute man. I love characters that have that like humanity element to them, that leadership, and it feels like he is the leader of the Tri-Brigade. And I really, really loved his unwavering decision to save Ecclesia and Albaz in this moment after just brutally taking on Fleurdelis in a fight that he essentially won. So I just feel like Shuraig, the episode's named after him, rightfully so. He is the man, and I love that call. And so then Ecclesia wakes up, and, you know, the last thing she remembers is her own people basically calling her a traitor and trying to essentially kill her before Albaz turned into a dragon, and then she passed out. She leaves the tent, and Ferrijit is waiting for her, and the two ladies are about to have a conversation, and sadly, the episode comes to an end. And again, every single time I'm like very invested in an episode, the end credits just roll at the worst times possible. I guess in one hand, they're picking good moments to leave cliffhangers, but in another hand, it just reminds me that like this product would be so much more enjoyable if it was more frequent or these episodes had more length to them, which I know I say that every time I talk about the Chronicles, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but just had to point that out. Overall, really enjoyed the episode. It was a great episode with some really, really good fighting sequences. The story beats were pretty good as well. Love that the Shuraig and Fleurdelis stuff remains unfinished, that the two of them, which was kind of foreshadowed in last month's episode, fought to another no result. I'm interested as to why the Dogmatika retreated in that moment, so hopefully we learn more about that soon. And yeah, overall, enjoyable episode. You guys know how I feel about the Chronicles. I still feel pretty similarly where, you know, it's not a replacement for the main Yu-Gi-Oh anime, but I have been enjoying myself these last 2 to 3 episodes, really since the Sky Striker stuff ended, which was brutal. Albaz has been really, really good. And I'm very interested to see what happens after November, because we know we have 3 more episodes. There's a lot of people that feel we're going to get a second season of this because this branded lore is just so massive that there's no fathomable way they can wrap it up in 15 to 20 minutes, which is basically going to be the equivalent of 3 more episodes. So I could certainly see there being a season 2 if they feel they want to continue with this storyline, or maybe we'll get something new starting in December, or maybe that'll just be the end of the Chronicles, even though I'd be pretty surprised by that. But let me know all your thoughts, guys, on the branded storyline so far. Let me know what you thought of episode 3. I'm excited to talk to you in the comments. I appreciate every single one of you watching. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.